This is Picks on Politics.
And welcome to Picks on Politics, everybody. I'm Dan Manarino, and it's that time of year when most of us take a moment to do some reflecting, right, on the last year, make plans or resolutions for the upcoming new year. And today, I did exactly that with New York City Council Speaker Adrienne Adams. Now, I sat down with her to discuss the highs and lows of 2024 and the lessons that she's taking with her into 2025. She's also opening up about how that will all work with Mayor Eric Adams. Adrienne Adams going on the record. And Speaker Adrienne Adams is joining me now to talk about this year and review and what a year it was. Great to have you back, Speaker.
Thank you. Great to be back.
Also, a happy belated birthday
Thank
to
you
as well, all right? And so it is a very, very busy year. So many headlines, but I want to begin with really news of the day, which kind of fits into the year. And we're taping this in full disclosure on a Thursday, the day that Mayor Eric Adams is meeting with the new border czar, Tom Homan, who has made no short of words of really wanting to go forward with mass deportations. The mayor has said that he's not for mass saturation in New York City. First, I want to get your take on that meeting between the two.
Well, I think that any time the mayor can meet with any members of the administration, I think is a positive thing. Our concern, of course, is going to be the safety of New Yorkers and actually of New Yorkers that have been here for a while. So I am hoping the best for this meeting. I am hoping that there is a meeting of the minds, and I am hoping that there is still safety and protection for all New Yorkers.
Are you for what the mayor has talked about, which is that he would like to work with ICE to deport non-citizen criminals?
That is a very, very shaky ground. New York City, as you know, Dan, is a sanctuary city. I believe that the laws that are in place with our sanctuary city laws are indeed enough to keep the city safe, to keep our immigrants safe as well. I believe that the enforcement measures of our sanctuary city laws have been misinterpreted, and there's been a lot of misinformation out there.
On the sanctuary city front, Speaker, the mayor has said in a recent interview that the council made it clear it does not want to make changes, so he is now looking to bypass the council for that to possibly or potentially remove the sanctuary city policy. What is your reaction to that? And if it does happen, can the council do anything about it?
Well, I think that once again, our sanctuary city laws are enough. The fact of the matter is that I believe that some folks want to make our city agencies become agents of the federal government. That just simply should not be the case. The law does actually make clear lines when it comes to punishment of violent criminals within the law that exists already. The fact that enforcement may or may not be done, that's a whole other story, but that has nothing to do with the law that's already in place.
Are you in lockstep with the mayor on this issue, or are you at odds when it comes to the idea of sanctuary city? We
have differing opinions of what the meaning of sanctuary city is. I think that it's very clear. I believe the mayor thinks that it crosses the line, some sort of a line. I happen to believe that the law that is in place needs to be enforced as such. Okay, I want to talk about the rest of the year and some of the headlines that really dominated. Budget negotiations, I feel like that was an endless conversation between so many folks, right? Mayor Adams rolling back, cutting programs when council members and yourself had said the money was always there, right? When all is said and done and you look at it right now in its totality, and as we are approaching the end of the year, were you happy with the final outcome, or is there something you want to get in there maybe in 2025? It was a bittersweet outcome for me. To me, the back and forth did not need to happen the way that it did, and you just said it. The council always knew that the money was there. We did not need this unnecessary burden for New Yorkers. The cuts that were put in place by the administration were very, very harmful. The cuts harmed families, working people, children, our cultural institutions, our libraries. Our council had to come back and restore essential items, the fabric of New York City. The council had to step up once again, as the council will always do, and protect New Yorkers. I had individuals coming up to me in the grocery store saying, our libraries were shut down. We couldn't even take our children to the library because of what the council did. actually affected my family once again in a positive way. When you hear the feedback of New Yorkers that were impacted, it just makes everything crystal clear, but it was not necessary. And once again, the council comes to the rescue.
I feel like one of the big words of the year for you in the city council was negotiations. And that is also a big moment when it came to what happened at the end of the year, which was the City of Yes, right? A big platform, 80,000 new homes, many of them affordable, which is what so many people need, right? But again, that was a big negotiation. The number was at 120, it ended at 80. Were you happy with the outcome?
I was happy with the outcome. You have to remember that the mayor's proposal, the initial proposal, was the City of Yes proposal for zoning. It was the third rung in a three-pronged ladder. So where the council was able to really do a lot of things and help, quite frankly, to get the first two legs of that proposal across the finish line. This particular one was going to be the most difficult, and we knew that from the very beginning. And the mayor has mentioned that I told him, in fact, this is your product and you're going to need to sell this piece, the housing piece. And in effect, in the long run, the sale still wasn't enough for our communities. It wasn't enough to get us where we needed to be. Our City for All was the icing on the cake and happened to actually enable the members to be able to say, all right, I can live with this now. We've got affordability. We have more affordability when it comes to home ownership, when it comes to retention of tenants, when it comes to helping NYCHA residents, when it comes to infrastructure, maintenance and building, when it comes to CityFAP's vouchers. There are a whole lot of things that we made sure were there with that $5 billion. Thank you, Governor Hochul, as well, for helping us to get there. But our City for All was indeed the icing on the cake to bring this across the finish line.
Yeah, and that word negotiation kind of goes into what played, in terms of the power dynamic between the council and the mayor. And I want to talk about this past election, specifically the 4 ballot initiatives that passed in New York City. It is seemingly giving the mayor more power. And some argue that will tip the balance of power in the mayor's favor. Obviously, you and the council wanted it to go the other way, right? So when you look back at it now, is that going to change a dynamic in 2025?
Well, the dynamic, well, first of all, the council will always follow the law. Those ballot proposals are now in place. However undemocratic they may be for the people of the City of New York, we wanted a message to come out prior to the election, and we tried to get that message out to our voters to let them know exactly what this was. This was a Trojan horse, quite frankly. And what we found when we went out to speak to those, many of whom had already voted absentee or, other ways, said we had no idea this is what that language meant.
This all came because of a charter review commission, and the mayor just announced another charter review commission in 2025. What does that mean for you?
Well, it means that the council will continue to be on our toes. We have our own charter review commission that we will continue to pursue. We are going to go forth with that, and we are going to continue to do the work of New Yorkers. We know that the previous charter revision commission was we call commission. We believe it was weaponized with both cannons pointed directly at the city council to give the mayor more power, more authority. We feel that it was an undemocratic abuse of power, quite frankly.
So all these topics, Speaker, and I'm listening to the language very carefully, and when you look at it at face value, and I've spoken to many people, we get this rosy picture of this is how city government works, right? But it seems like there is a power struggle between the council and the mayor, and that it isn't as rosy a picture as it should be believed to be. The City of Yes, you were not there when the announcement was made. Many people noticed that you weren't there. And there are other announcements where people say, well, where is the speaker when she worked so hard on this, not side by side with the mayor? So is the relationship as rosy as people believe it is?
I wouldn't call it rosy. I've never called it rosy, but it is cordial. The mayor and I maintain a very, very cordial relationship. Again, we just happen to lead very, very differently. We've got very, very different leadership and management styles. We have different politics in some cases as well.
It's not a matter of leading differently, because it looks like he's trying to take power away.
I believe that is the case as well. And for all of the hard work that the council does, we still believe in checks and balances. We have seen the erosion, unfortunately, with this administration of the authority of a city council that is there primarily to protect New Yorkers with the checks and balances when it comes to a mayoral administration. We would hope or have hope that this would get better. And we see that, quite frankly, there is still a resistance to have the city council be the city council.
Mm-hmm. I do want to talk about some exciting news that came in the year as well. And actually one of them was announced, this basic income requirement for expectant mothers. This was huge news for so many who look for that. Can you talk a little bit about it and why you kind of came to that decision to get it done?
Absolutely. So many expectant mothers have difficulty when it comes to housing. Many are in homeless shelters. Many are coming through or exist in domestic violence situations. What we announced yesterday is going to enable, with a partnership, quite frankly, with the Bridge Project, fantastic organization, will help expectant mothers gain housing, and this will take, finances will be taken care of as well as far as their living expenses, $1,000 and up. The council will go ahead and provide funding for them to start a new life. We're talking about healthy babies now that, of course, is a priority for this women majority city council.
Starting when?
Starting effective immediately, actually. We were looking at some women yesterday, so happy to embrace them. I held a beautiful baby, a 3-month-old. I said I wasn't going to give her back, but I had to. But this is starting immediately for new mothers, expectant mothers whose stories would absolutely break your heart, but want to do well, want their babies to have the best of everything, just like you and I do for our children. This will absolutely set them on the right path.
Speaker, 2025 right around the corner. Is there a goal that you would like to accomplish in 2025 amongst the council? And then the question is, do you want to run for a different office?
2025 is my final budget.
Yep.
This is the place where the council sits in the seat of protection for New Yorkers. And for me, in the last budget, I will have on my suit of armor. I've had it on all along for all these years, but we will really, really have it on this time. It will be coated this time to fortify even more for the city council, for us to do our work for all New Yorkers. I refuse to let this council be the council of restoration. We must be the council of empowerment for the people of the city of New York, those who voted us in, to make sure that they have the best quality of life, to make sure that they are protected, to make sure that they do not look at future budget cuts that are harmful to their families, to their quality of life. This is what this council was put here to do. I'm looking forward to another great budget. As far as my future is concerned, I've got a lot of options available.
Okay.
And I'm not saying no to nothing.
Okay, so not saying no to a run for mayor.
I'm not saying no to anything.
Okay. Do you want another office?
I've got a lot of options, Dan.
Okay, I know, Speaker Adams. I'll keep asking every single time. Great to have you here. And
Thank you so much.
Happy holidays to you, okay?
Thank you.
All right, there, leave the door wide open on a potential run for something. Later on, everybody, we're taking a deeper look at Mayor Adams' meeting with the incoming border czar, Henry Rossoff, speaking to the mayor right after it happened. Plus, there's no confusion whether it's a bird or it's a plane. We know there are drones in the skies over New Jersey, but what are they doing there? Our two New Jersey correspondents sharing the latest on their reporting and the intensifying fight for answers. Picks on Politics back in 2 minutes.